Right. So, for a controlled experiment, this is what allows scientists to take what they observe out in the real world, out in nature, and bring it back to a lab so that they can see if these things that are happening, their observations that they witnessed in nature, happen over and over. Okay, so the controlled experiment that's carried out in the lab always has two groups. You have a control group and you have an experimental group. That control group is the group that allows you to compare your results so that you know that the whatever changes happen and whatever results you have from the experimental group were caused by what you did in the lab. So in these experiments, in these tests, you have variables. Okay, the variable is something that can, just like in math, it can represent more than one value. So for the first variable that you need to know is called the independent variable. It's also called the manipulated variable. If you can remember, manipulated means hand, mano in Spanish. So this is the variable that you put your hand in and manipulate. Okay, this is the one that you are going to change and in your groups. So I have group 1 and group 2. The independent variable is going to be what I cause to change. My dependent variable, or my responding variable, is going to be what I look for to change because of that variable. So it's going to be kind of like my results. It's going to be like what I'm watching for to happen. Okay, so now within those two groups, everything else has to stay the same. Okay, so the only way that I know that my responding variable or my dependent variable happened because of my independent variable is if I keep everything else the same, and those are called constants or controlled variables. Okay, so if I'm testing the temperature, for example, on Blue's cage, then I would have to only change the temperature, and everything else that I would look at would have to stay the same. So the time of day that I checked the temperature, the time, the amount of time that I turned on his heat lamp, the location of the cage, that all of this other things would have to stay the same. Those are called our constants. So to set up a controlled experiment in a lab and to get valid results, you have to have the control group, experimental group. Okay? Your independent variable is the one that you change. The dependent variable is kind of like the results, is the factor that you observe that changes as a result of the independent variable. And then everything else must be kept the same. Those are your controls, or your constants. I'm going to add some notes at the end of this for you to take down.